Okay, so this is the end, but just the beginning. As you can see, this slab is dead flat. This is part of my new office desk build, and we wanted to do a standalone video on flattening the slab. I took Big D through his paces of what he's learned over the last 2.5 years with me using hand planes. Understanding the cup and crown of this board, we had it ever so slight. So we took it down the old-fashioned way using hand planes, and Big D got a ton of new skills. Stay tuned, baby.
All right, Sedge, where do we start?
Whew, there's a lot to this, Big D. Let's talk about the wood first.
Okay.
When I bought this, my buddy Brian down in Indy Urban Hardwoods, real close friend, he flattened this for us. My grandson, you guys all know Daniel, he's been on the channel. He picked it out with me. And it's ash is the type of wood. It's beautiful. I don't know where Brian reclaimed this because he reclaims all his wood are all around Indianapolis. So we have to look at this, and I've worked with ash before, and it's hard. So when I look at something like this, I'm gonna turn this over. This is a chat. It's on YouTube somewhere or the internet. There's certain woods that you work with, and you'll like say you're working with oak, or like the hardest one I've ever worked with was hickory, but there's a hardness chart to it.
Okay.
Okay, and it's called the Janka hardness chart. And when we look at this, you'll see the ratings here. So I'm going to find ash, and it's not too bad. I thought it was a lot harder. It's 1320 on the Janka hardness chart. But what do we usually work with? We work with like American cherry. So it's 950.
Okay.
So, and we work with maple, and maple, not Brazilian, but maple's 1450. So it's right in between, kind of in between what we're used to working with maple.
Okay.
So one thing we got to do, we can make sure our scrub plane blades are sharp, our smoother planes are sharp, and our number 7 blade is sharp, because I'm going to show you old school. When you take a straight edge and you bring it across, now there was a massive gap here and here. Now there's a slight gap, but I want to find where the hump is. So I'll bring it this way, and now I'm starting to show a slight gap in there. For me, because we're doing this by hand, that is not a lot of bow. This is going to be probably my last desk that I build for me personally.
Okay.
It's not that I want it perfect, but I want to make it just right for me. I'm going to look at it. I'm going to sit or stand at it every day. So sometimes when you get caught up in building something, you go back and forth. This has been a 3-year journey for me, and I am so stoked that you and I get to go through this process together.
Me too.
The grain, as you notice, is to die for.
It's beautiful.
When I was going through this, I was like, I really like this grain. This almost looks like a figure. Danny called it Touchdown Jesus, you know, because it's like this. We're Notre Dame fans. I'm not going to pour any we're not going to pour any epoxy in here. I mean, we have this knot. That's not why I'm doing it. Mary Ann said, this is too sharp. I want a nice gentle edge, the rounded edge facing up. And when we're going to flip this over in a few minutes, we have to, we're going to work the natural edge, and that'll be another video. So yeah, I'm going on and on and on, but I know Chris can edit a lot of this out, right? Okay, good. But there's certain little tidbits I wanted to get across. Sometimes you go, okay, I'm going to go with it, and then the next thing you know, well, wait a minute, I like this too. So there's a lot of back and forth, and you're going to see.
As you can tell, he's wicked excited about this desk.
Okay, so what we need to do, when I was ordering my desk frame, there was weight limitation. So I went on, of course, Amazon first and started looking at a bunch of different stuff. And I said, wow, load rating is, I was looking at load ratings because pick that up over there. I'm going to have you guess, Big D, how much do you think this weighs?
I'm going to say 175.
Chris? Yell it out. Oh, wait a minute. Yell out your original thought.
I thought it was 300.
Yep, I was in that line between 250 and 300. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show people what you need to do before you order a desk frame. You got to look at how much you can get in length, okay, because this is 86, 82, 86. And that frame that I have off to the side that we're going to assemble will go to 72. So I'm going, okay, what's the stability of that? I bought their commercial version. It was from Uplift, okay, and they have an I-beam on the commercial version. So I was worried about side-to-side stability, but you also got to look at this. In here, okay, it is 29, okay, they rate theirs for about 30, 36 in depth, and this is 35. So we're good there. We'll have that stability. It's a C-frame,
Okay.
and the feet are 27 and a half. I bought the, once again, the V2 commercial. To remember, when you look at the specifications, look at load ratings. I thought this was 300 pounds alone, 250, 300. It's just that it's bulky. Okay, let's weigh it and I'll show you.
All right, let's do it.
130. So Big D, if we look at this, we had about 130, 123 to 130. It blows me away because I thought this was a lot heavier. It's amazing, huh?
It's crazy.
It's because it's bulky. Okay, Big D, thanks. We got it weighed. We know it's about 130 pounds. We got the right frame ordered. Now comes the fun part. We're gonna start flattening the top here. Another video will be taking care of this natural edge. I'm really stoked. I started doing a little bit here and I said, whoa, we wanna get this on film. So Chris, can you follow us over here? Okay, so the back side of this, which hopefully we have in the video, there was a slight bow and I had already started to work that. And this is a different animal. So Chris, come down here, Big D, come with me so you can see this. You're gonna see daylight here. Oh wow, okay. So we need to take down this side and this dip, right? So let's see how much we gotta take down. It sounds funny, but we got shims here. That's a 1 millimeter, ooh, that's a decent gap. Oh, right in the middle, it's about a 2 millimeter gap. So it's always good to have gauge blocks. So let's think about this. As we go down, we can mark our board. And it's nice that you're here, Big D, because we can work it here and here, not concentrating in here. Follow me?
Yep.
So as we do this, this may vary, like down there, it may be even heavier, but let's look. It is, it's a little bit heavier. So let's just continue this. And wow, look at that dip. That's a good dip, right?
Yes, sir.
So always gauge it, make sure you have a good straight edge, but it's starting to go like this. So as we knock this down, we'll come in this way, and this makes sense because of this checking right here.
Okay.
All right, and as I go through, that's what we're gonna do. We'll just keep marking. Okay, need to take out all of that. It spreads back this way. It spreads back this way. And what will happen is these lines will narrow in. So this sometimes, and you'll see it a lot better like this, as I go like this, okay, what'll happen is, as we're hand planing, you'll see we don't even touch these middle lines. It's right in here that we're gonna concentrate and bring this in. So yeah, there's several ways to flatten. You'll see all over all the videos. Someone will set up rails here that are even, they'll level the board and they'll take a router and go back and forth with a sled. Works great. Have I done it? Yes. I could have taken this to my buddy's shop, thrown it on his CNC, and he could have taken this out in an hour of just running the CNC. But what I wanted to show is old school, and we could talk about some cool versions of the hand planes, especially one of my favorite planes is the scrub plane. Okay, Big D, I just want to go on record and say, if you guys weren't here, I probably would have said, hey, forget it. This is perfect for me, and not worry about this and sand it. No one's really going to see that 2 millimeter dip, or you'll feel that 2 millimeter dip. This is my computer desk, my overall desk. It's just such a beautiful slab. But let's have some fun and go through this, and I can show you how to use a scrub plane or smoother. Okay, Big D, I want you to do this. Okay, you know how to use a scrub plane.
All right.
In other words, people don't realize what you're doing is, I always look at it, you're taking down the highs of something. And it's not a final finish. You're gonna see, and a good way to show you is, let's look at the blade of a scrub plane. It's actually, it looks just like this. So the part that's cutting is like this. You'll hear it all the time. This is where you hog out a lot of material quick. And everybody goes, well, where's the grain? Which way does it go? Well, you sit a shallow cut. Sometimes it doesn't matter. You want to eliminate as much tear out, but it's not your final cut. We're going to go back to leveling and then smoothing. Okay, and then as we go, you'll see, oh yeah, look, there's a lot of dips. In other words, what it creates is a lot shallower version of this.
Okay.
And I always go like this, and then what I do is I come across the grain like this. And basically, when I do look at this, I got little diamonds. Okay, so when I take a larger plane and I go across it, I'm just taking down the highs and the lows.
Knocking them right down.
Okay, and I'm just going to go like this down the grain. Now you got to be careful because I'm starting to get some good tear out here, and it's just your angle of attack as you do this. And you always got to look for tear out because you don't want too much. I know we're going to go lower than that. See how it's tearing out? But you got to be careful, so I may reverse the grain. Big D, I want you to come in here to see this.
Okay.
This is where I started to encounter some nasty grain. Okay, I reversed my direction. This is somewhere where I'd probably stay away from now. I know we have to go down about that much.
Okay.
That's about 1 millimeter of depth, and this was a 2 millimeter dip. I'm going to stay there right now. That is some grain that's going different places. Over here, hogs out nice. Okay, and that's a good start because the smoother will start to take down those highs and lows. Always have a good brush with you. What we're going to do is we're going to reverse the board around, and I'll have you go here and I'll coach you how to use the plane. So I'll show you a little basics of scrub plane. It's one of the easiest hand planes to use, and it's fun because you create a lot of chip quick. This is your horn. You'll see it's ergonomic. You'll just grab it like this, and your hand goes in this little crux right here. What I want to point out, and I always forget, is make sure you have that wax right there. It makes it a little bit slipperier, so I'll just show you just like that, okay? And then when you come back like this, okay, and you're just scrubbing the board. So there you go, it's your turn.
Okay, awesome.
And remember, you're coming into about this line.
Okay.
You're gonna bring it in. So
And
just,
I notice when you do it, you're not pushing it straight, you're kind of more angled.
no, you're scrubbing it. Just think about scrubbing something.
Okay.
Come down the board just like that. Come down the board just like this. You got it. Keep coming.
All right, Sedge, what's next?
Now it's time for the heavy metal or the heavy iron. This is the number 7. Okay, you have your front and your back. And this will not follow dips. It will start to level it out. Those highs and lows that we have. Okay, we won't spend a lot of time on this. But what's going to happen as we take this, and it's the right way to teach you, you go scrub, 7, and then smoother. And you've used the smoother before. Emphasis on smoothing. Now here's the other thing I'm going to tell you. After we get the 7 and we do a little smoothing, we'll start to check the slab again. Guess what we might have to do? Go back to the scrub plane.
Okay.
Okay, then go through the 7 and then go through the 4.5. This is a lot of work, but man, this will hone your hand tool skills, especially your hand plane skills, like all get out. Okay, let's just watch for tear out and I'll start to go with you.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, Big D, so we got to be careful of grain on this because I don't want too much uplift. I've created what is known as a shallow cut. You'll start to hear it, it'll go tick, 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 tick. That's the highs that we've created, those little diamonds going crisscross with the scrub plane. Like always, just a quick refresher. 3 fingers in the tote. Okay, like this, finger forward, pressure here. And you'll start to hear it. I mean, I can't hear any, oh, there we go. I'm starting to take down some of those highs, and that's how I follow. Oh, I'm getting a pretty decent cut here. That's pretty good. Okay, and it's just a back and forth like that as we do this. And that's how I start to take down those highs. In other words, we're saving time on the smoother.
Gotcha.
And then the final, of course, will be sanding. That's all it is. Here, toss me that Toss me the, nope, nope, toss me the wax. That'll help it. In other words, there's a lot of momentum carried through with all this. It's a heavy iron or a heavy plane. But you'll start to see it come up. I'm not too concerned about that.
Fighting the friction.
Yeah.
Sedge, it doesn't feel like I'm cutting.
You're just hitting the highs on it now.
Okay.
And from this angle, you could see those little diamond shapes as you crisscrossed it. Yep, start off, there you go. Yeah, skew it a little, there you go. And you'll start to do it. You start to feel a cut,
Yeah,
right? As you do it, you're just hitting the highs. Just do that area. See? I'm watching that come right down, Big D. Good job. Good. Yep, there you go. Turn it up. You're doing great, Big D.
You too, holding the board down for me. I appreciate
Keep
it.
doing a good job, Big D. Okay, stop. What I'm noticing here as you hit here, that grain is going like this, right? Why don't we come in? And this is a wacky grain. Why don't you come in like this?
Okay.
So you have done a great job where I nailed with the scrub plane some tear out.
So we kind of attack the grain this way?
Yes. See how you feel on that. I'm going to go to the other end.
Okay. Oh, that's much better.
Much better, isn't it? You'll see when we hit it with a smoother.
Gotta work with the grain, baby.
And this is a difficult piece because the grain is going every which way.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so here's a difficult part of hand planing. I was going this way and I was getting this heavy tear out. Okay, there was nothing here, but the grain starts to go this way. So you got to actually feel it as you go through the board so you don't get any really deep. I mean, this isn't too deep. We'll take care of that with a smoother and then afterwards sanding. But it's like, this is where I'm going to be sitting all the time. I don't want to be looking at all that tear out. And it'll really pop when we put the Rubio on. So let's remove some more highs and get it a little bit smoother before we start tacking it with our Rotexes. I've often heard people say, I've taken all my highs and all my highs down with the Rotex. It'll take you a long time to do that. What we're doing is we're getting there quicker. And you'll see when we start with the Rotex, you on this side, me on this side, you'll see how quick it goes.
Nice.
I don't want to start taking a straight edge in here. You can see right here, look, this is where we've been taking it down here and here. This tear out will disappear over time as we take a few more swipes with this, and then it'll be gone when we're finished with the Rotex. And I'm saying Rotex as also a flattener. We also got final sanding as a video as well. So when you're using a hand plane, you have to pay attention to grain. I can't say that enough. And Big D, you could probably see where this is getting really smooth in here. It's shinier.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
because that's where when I took that scrub plane and went there, I had that deep tear out. This is where I'll be sitting most of the time, and you're going to see some here. I believe the Rotex will take care of that as we continue to fare, but we have some here. I say this to myself, I'm trying to dig out of the hole. I'm trying to dig out of the tear out when I use a smoother, and it takes a lot of work, but I'll tell you, all of a sudden, as Chris says, that grain just appears. One of the keys to using a hand plane, and you guys, I'm repeating myself, is making sure that the blade is set laterally properly, so you're not digging it on one edge, and also make sure that blade is wicked sharp. So I'm almost done with this side. I've dug out the heavy tear out that we encountered with the scrub plane, and I think it's Big D's time to have a good workout on this side. Big D,
Hey.
thank you for bringing an inspection light. These things are worth their weight in gold. We had some heavy tear out down here, and we came down and we looked at it. That is eliminated. Yes, we get some plane tracks. Who cares? We'll work a little of this. That's wacky grain. A sander, a Rotex can take care of that. But I just made a mark here, and that's what we're going to hit right now. I'll hit it with a smoother just to knock that out, save some time sanding. We are almost at the elimination of that dip. I think the rest can be sanders. These here, you see these little lines here? Those are plane tracks. To eliminate that, I have a cambered blade on here. To eliminate that, I can take the lateral adjuster like this, and take it off to the side. I'm always checking for plane marks. Yes, will that sand out perfect? Yes. I'm not too worried about this. I just worry about tear out.
Yeah.
Okay, so an inspection light, raking light like that, and we will use this in our final.
It's a decent broom too.
It is, it's pretty cool. We will use this, and I like this over here. I'll work that a little bit. That's some a little knot area where a tree came out. I may work that with a scraper. We'll see how but boy, these are worth their weight in gold. This will really shine, no pun intended, when we look for swirl marks before we put on our Rubio.
Sounds good.
Man, Big D, you did a killer job in there. Are you catching that, Chris? The shine on that? He took all those highs and lows out. Exceptional, dude. So I'm just gonna come and get a couple more swipes here. And I think we're gonna be done. Okay, Big D, on the wide part here, we have taken down this side really well and this side really well. So what we've done is we had a wide gap or wide cup. Now it's a lot more narrower and a heck of a lot less. So what we're gonna do is we'll concentrate on here when we hit it with the Rotexes.
All right.
And you'll see it'll level out. I don't wanna take down too much because we gotta address the tear out soon. So, and as I feel this, and you'll see right here, look, when I take my hand, you could do this and your fingers will follow the undulations, but if you go like this across, you'll feel it and you'll say, wow, that dip has gone. Now, as I go down here, I want you to do this, Big D. I want you to take your hand and go across like this, all the way.
All the way.
You can feel the dip, can't you?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, so if we look at this, and I'm gonna bring it down, Chris, come in here. We're gonna attack this area all the way down is really good until we get to about here. It starts with a knot. I'm feeling quite a bit of a bump here, and what we'll do is we'll come in here. Chris, come down here with me, and you're gonna see, I always label, this is good, the dip really starts here, and oopsie, broke the lead, and starts here. So what we gotta do is we gotta concentrate on these sections here to bring it down, but it's not that much, so we just got a few more swipes of the plane and we'll be good.
All right, Sedge, what are you up to?
Okay, so hopefully this light shows you or shines some light on here.
Hey!
What we're gonna do is we're gonna inspect it. Okay, so we still have that very slight dip, but I think the concentration will be in this area with our Rotexes, and by the time we've got it, it'll fare out pretty nice. The thing I wanna do right now, and I'll teach you a new hand plane, is we can look in here. This is tear out we had. It's not that bad. Yeah, we can sand it out, but the more we can take it out before we hit it with the Rotex, the more time we'll save. And I got a really cool hand plane for that. I see a little right here.
Okay.
This will just help in the long run. And guess where all that nasty tear out is? Right where it should be. You know, where all that grain is crazy. But what we're gonna do, and this it's just natural for this to happen. This was the toughest area, right in there. But there's little marks that I'm making here. Okay, so we can address this with what we call a scraper plane. Okay, so we know what this is. This is the cabinet scraper, right?
Yep.
And if we come in here, and Chris, you can see where I could take that cabinet scraper, and it does pretty good work at this, but boy, your thumbs will get tired. But this is always good to have in your arsenal because it's actually scraping it so it doesn't give you a ton of tear out as we go through this. What I like to use is, I've had this for a long time, you'll see the blade is set back like a cabinet scraper, but I could take this and it makes quick work of something like this. And I could scrape a lot of that tear out or get it close enough so when I hit it with my Rotex sander, I can get it right where I need it.
Nice.
Wow. Whew. Kind of a workout.
Just a little bit.
So this is really good, Big D, because I'm showing you the way it was always done with hand planes, scrapers, scraper planes. I think at this moment, now we can hit the Rotex, address that end down there,
Okay.
a little bit for dip. Doesn't matter, like Marianne, my wife says, you got to leave some imperfections in there, okay? But we have done a lot of flattening over the last day. So what we're going to do is we're going to move on to sanding, but initial flattening of sanding, because we still got to address the natural edge. So we're going to hit some Rotex in certain areas. There's a little more tear out here that I want to address. Other than that, I think we've got just about everything.
Sounds good.
So let's hit it with the Rotex, and then we'll take a final look.
All right, Sedge, what's up?
What do you think? Do you like? Wait a minute. Do you like the sand?
Hell no.
Okay, so let's talk about why we sand. Sometimes it's to remove material to level. Sometimes it's to remove paint on the side of a house. Sometimes it's just to remove the marks on a piece of plywood before you spray a finish.
Right.
Right? Okay. So you got to choose the right tool for your application. Hello. So a lot of woodworkers would start, what we're doing today is we're taking down some more highs in this area, and we're starting to get a perfect leveled, I stay away from perfect, but a level surface for the top of my desk. Okay, so most woodworkers would say, oh, let's start with 80 grit. And I would say, hey, do you like the sand? No. So we're going to start with the right tool. And always remember this, the tool is actually the paper. And the papers in the lower numbers are a heavier grit. This is granite paper. It's aluminum oxide, but it also has ceramic grit in the lower grits.
Oh.
So the only thing we're going to do today is hit it at 40. We will go after we do the natural edge and before we hit it with Rubio. Then we'll do our final sandings and we'll step up to about 150. Okay, but let's get it where we need to do our final leveling process. We chose 40 grit for this.
Yes,
and
sir.
you'll see where this will attack pretty good. One of the things, like I mentioned earlier, is everything is fairly flat up top here. We just got to address some more tear out. But what we want to do in the beginning, and that's why I'm going to mark this like this, okay, is you're going to be on this side, I'll be on this side, and we're going to get, because there's just that slight dip in there.
Right.
Will anybody ever notice? Yeah, I will. Let's get it fared out pretty good. The other thing is we chose the right machine to move the tool. We chose the Rotex sander in the Rotex mode. So it's basically an eccentric grinder, and we're going to rip material pretty daggone quick with this, so we got to be careful. And also we put on the blue pad, which is a hard pad, so if we venture into that dip, it'll fare out perfect.
Yep.
It won't follow it.
Beauty.
So we're just going to get started.
All right. All right, Sedge, what speed should I set this at?
Do you like the sand?
No.
Okay, set it at high on 6.
All right, on 6.
Okay, so why do we adjust speeds on a sander? You adjust speeds on a sander in the higher grits. Say you're sanding finish, you don't want to burn through some, or you're working a radius, you slow it down a little bit.
Gotcha.
Other than that, I'm always at 6 on the Rotex. The other thing I will mention, I've done this before with you, is you hold it back here. That way there, the pad is flat. Remember, we go back and forth, to and fro, and then 6 to 8 inch circles, because we don't want dips on this side either. Okay,
No, we just
and we're just going to go nuts with this. We'll go back and forth. This area, you're going to see it's going to cut. You don't have to put a lot of pressure. Just make sure you hold it. Okay.
One quick question,
Shoot.
though. What about CT? Should we have that thing cranked up?
Crank it all the way up. On Rotex mode, good question. The vac is all the way up. When we get into random orbit later on final finishing, then we'll slow down so it doesn't hesitate and create swirl marks.
Awesome.
Okay, let's get going.
Yes, sir.
And you're going to start down here, Big D.
All right, Sedge, so when do we change the paper?
Remember this, time is money.
Yep.
So what I like to do is I'd like to have a fresh piece of 40, feel that and feel this.
Ooh.
Okay? Those are little blades on there as I describe them. Guess what? You could save this if you want, but man, I like to switch paper often. That way there I have a fresh cut.
Okay.
Cool?
All right, so what's next?
Okay, so I want you to eyeball that down there and tell me how we did.
It's pretty wicked flat, I'd say.
It's pretty what?
Wicked flat.
I like that. Man, you're becoming a northerner. Okay, there's only one other thing I'm going to do. We checked the whole slab. I'm going to take my straight edge. This is not the final sanding. So when we look at this, I'm just inspecting for heavy tear out, and we have got everything accomplished that we had circled. No heavy tear out. Of course, you're going to see some huge scratches. Those are the 40 grit.
Right.
So now I think we're going to hit the natural edge. And like we always say,
Be positive.
stay sharp.
Wicked
Wicked sharp.